My name is Races, and you can too. Today I'm going to share with you 3 tips for losing weight. Sorry, my daughter painted my nails. You like that? Yeah. Welcome to one of my Airbnbs. The reason I am in one of my Airbnbs is because it is clean. Okay, 3 tips for losing weight for cycling. Last Christmas, just after Christmas, I looked at my big fat belly and I was like, whoa, bro, we got to do something about this. So I was looking for a sustainable way to make these changes. In the past, I have done calorie counting, and I did not like that. But I thought I'll try it again with a slight twist by focusing on macros. So I downloaded MyFitnessPal, no affiliation, I have nothing to gain from MyFitnessPal, but I downloaded MyFitnessPal. I paid for the premium version so that I could scan barcodes and take photos of stuff. Just makes life a lot easier to have the premium version. And what I found with MyFitnessPal, and what I'm going to show you today, is that if you do just 1 meal per day that's intelligent and well thought out, it makes everything else significantly easier in your life. So I'm going to show you what became my go-to meal planning recipe that I typically would eat for lunch, sometimes for dinner as well. But I found if I just got this one lunch done correctly, everything else sort of fell into place. I stuck with it for 4 weeks, didn't really see any changes at week 2, maybe some barely changes at week 3, but week 4 really started making a huge difference. So I was able to bring my weight down. I'll have the numbers on the screen, but a pretty significant amount. My gut came down, my belt line came down, everything was making a big difference. I felt way better on the bike. I lost weight on the scale to be more competitive on Zwift, but also in the outdoors. So huge benefits from this one tip. Okay, before we jump into the recipe, which is super simple, by the way, if you want to support the channel, which I greatly appreciate it, there's 2 really simple ways to do that. Actually, 3 really simple ways to do that. Pick yourself up a pair of made in the USA Alpaca socks. I helped create that brand. I feel really passionately about it. It's growing like crazy. People love the socks. The reviews are insane. The socks are awesome. Buy them for you, buy them for gifts. Perfect gift for Christmas coming up. The second way to do this is fixitsticks.com, another company that I created. The third way is a little bit weirder, is Backbottle.com, another company that I created. I hate to even call it a company because it really doesn't sell very many, but I still have a whole bunch of them in my garage. So if you order one, I will ship it from my garage and sign the slip. Thanks. Okay. 3 ways. Way number 1, using macros to your advantage. Way number 2, oh, actually I can't tell you about way number 2 until you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. So if you could just do that real quick, I'd appreciate it. Tip number 2 is to reduce alcohol. I would love to say avoid alcohol or eliminate alcohol, but I really like alcohol, so I don't want to do that. I just want to reduce it. I just want to bring it down a level, be reasonable with the alcohol. So I have a tip on that. And then tip number 3 is interjecting a little bit more activity into your day outside of the bike. Here is what we're going to show you in the meal prep, and I'll keep talking about MyFitnessPal as we go through this. Let's go. All right, let's dive into tip number 1. Tip number 1 is to prep these meals in advance. So I would typically do this on a Sunday, and I still do this to this day, just a little bit more off and on. So you're going to need these seeds of change, the broccoli, and the chicken breast. You can get all that at Costco for very reasonable pricing, and it's a very simple recipe to combine this all into the macronutrients that you're looking for. So you're going to find some salt and pepper in there too, because can't get enough salt. Just can't. So throw salt on everything. You'll be happy. All right, so now we're going to take 3 pouches of that rice. You certainly can make your own rice. I just like to keep this simple. 2 chicken breasts and 1 bag of flour. That's the
broccoli,
recipe.
not
3,
flour.
2, 1. And then really that's about it. And the neat part about this recipe is you can make it sort of an Asian flair. You can make it maybe more of a Mexican flair. You can just change the flavor with spices that you put on at the last minute or toppings that you put on there. I like to put peanuts on there, or dried onions, or even dried jalapenos that are like that. Put that all in the oven at once. You're going to bake all of that for like 25 minutes, and that's going to be really all you need to do. So we're going to throw that in the oven, and then we're going to dive into tip number 2 while all that is cooking, and the macronutrients are perfect for that recipe. And all that stuff I bought at Costco, and there's one other little trick that you can pick up at Costco that makes it super easy to get your alcohol consumption brought down a level. So as I was sitting there contemplating the size of my gut last Christmas, it occurred to me that I've been drinking an awful lot through the holidays, and that's something I need to get a little bit more control of. So I don't really want to get rid of alcohol out of my life. I don't strive for that. I'm a masters racer. I'm not turning pro. I like having a beer or a cocktail. So be it. But I do like to be competitive, and I do recognize that drinking a ton of alcohol is not a great idea. So I determined in my behaviors, and actually a lot because I use MyFitnessPal to determine like the time of day when I do these things. So the time of day when I drink most often is between like 6 to 8 p.m. So if I can get through those 2 hours without a drink, it makes things so much easier. A strategy, how can I just get through 2 hours without drinking? And the strategy I came up with was to utilize LaCroix seltzer drinks extensively, and whatever other brand, it doesn't have to be LaCroix. But I buy these at Costco in like 4 cases at a time, bring them home, and they're always in the fridge. I'm always cracking them open throughout the day. But I really think about it specifically between 5 to 8 p.m. If I can get these between, or 6 to 8 p.m. If I can get some of these in me between 6 to 8 p.m., it really reduces the amount of alcohol that I'm trying to intake. I still typically will have a cocktail every night. Maybe not every night, hopefully not every night. But I still really like that. But this has made a noticeable difference. And again, all these tips have sort of evolved over the past year, so I'm actually really glad I never did a weight loss video prior to when I had initially lost the weight after 6 weeks. I'm glad that it took time. For one, because I kept the weight off, more or less. 2, because I came up with these other little tactics and tricks throughout the year that I would not have had in that video. So anyway, this is tip number 2. One other little bonus tip here, I saved these slightly better tasting ones for that time frame and try to have the slightly crappier ones throughout the day. So this gives me a little something to look forward to, although really not that big of a deal. So, okay, that's tip number 2. I'm gonna go check on the food, see how it's done. I gotta eat lunch too. This is like why I'm doing the video, is I actually have to eat lunch, so. Okay, we'll see how it's going, and maybe we'll jump into tip number 3. The food has about 15-20 minutes left to go, so I am going to go show you tip number 3. This is tip number 3. If you just do these 3 things, I guarantee if you stick to them relatively closely for a month, you will definitely lose weight. 6 weeks is where it really starts to take shape. So if you can stick with this stuff for 6 weeks, I guarantee that you're gonna lose weight and be leaner. This is it. This is tip number 3. I'm already showing you. You might not know. That's it. Yep, that's it. Just walking. I go for walks very, very often now. And I just picked up a set of headphones from Apple. I got the, whatever they are. But I like those because then I can still have phone conversations and they sound good. And then I can listen to podcasts or the news or whatever I want to listen to on my little walks. I walk my daughter to school, I walk back, I walk to get coffee, I walk back. If I'm going out for a lunch meeting or coffee meeting, I try to make it downtown, which is about a mile away, so I can walk there and walk back. And just adding maybe 5 or 6 extra walks per week, I can absolutely tell when I do that, the weight and the leanness really takes shape. So keep the cycling the same. I'm not telling you to add more hours of cycling. I'm not telling you to add more intervals. I'm just saying find some times to go for a walk. Next time you get invited to a Zoom meeting, no problem. Put those headphones on, turn on your camera for a second, excuse yourself and say, I'm just going for a walk, but I'm going to be listening in. You're going to get a 20-minute walk in, you're going to get exercise in, you're going to get your blood moving, you're going to have a much more creative problem-solving meeting because you're moving your body. Tons and tons and tons of good things come from the simple act of walking. All right, we're just finishing up our walk, and I just wanted to add, we're gonna go get the food out, we're gonna portion it up, and while we're walking, I thought, well, this is a good time to have a little meeting with you, is that by doing the portioning, it really controls your intake. So in the beginning, I would weigh out the amount of chicken, the amount of rice, and the amount of broccoli I was putting in, and then that would become what I would enter into MyFitnessPal. Eventually, I figured out you can have saved meals in MyFitnessPal, so I would just click the button, save that meal, click the button, I ate that meal, and I'll tell you this, it is fascinating to watch how desperate you are to get every kernel of rice into your mouth when you're limiting your intake. But as soon as you step away from the table and make yourself busy again, go for another walk, go jump on a call, do some emails, whatever it is that you can figure out to make yourself busy, go clean, do laundry, I don't care. But as soon as you can get away from that table, make yourself busy, and your overwhelming desire to stuff more food into your face becomes minimized significantly. So These are my top 3 tips, and they really absolutely positively worked for me. Like total game changer stuff, and it's very simple, and that's what I love about it, is it's absolutely sustainable to do these things. So we're going back in. These little meal prep containers I found on Amazon. Oops, got locked up. These meal prep containers I found on Amazon are perfect for this. So they're typically portioned, these particular ones I bought are portioned to have 2 sides. I just fill them both with the same stuff and call it good. But these are great because you can stuff these in the fridge, stack them up. You've got 5 or 6 of them ready to go, and you know what you're gonna have. And here is really the cool part of, like, I don't put very many seasonings on that dish. So it's just salt and pepper on the chicken, salt and pepper, I forgot to do it, but I'll put it on the broccoli, and the rice is the rice. And then when I eat the meal, I might add sriracha with, sriracha to make it more of like a Mexican flavor, or I might add like some curry flavors to make it more Indian. I might throw some peanuts on there and put some, get an Asian sauce and make it the Asian flair. So it can go a lot of different directions with the same basic chicken, rice, broccoli. Chicken, rice, broccoli, but I can dress it up, dress it down, and put it in 3 different sort of variations, and then I don't get sick of eating it. I really actually never got sick of eating it, even though I ate it all the time. Meal prep, which actually has a huge side benefit. By doing this on, like, say Sunday, and I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I have all my lunches covered, all set, done. This opens up at least an hour of additional training time. You have at least an hour that you've saved by doing meal prep to work in some extra walks or go for an extra ride or whatever the case is. So those are my 3 tips. Tip number 1, MyFitnessPal using the 3-2-1 method from Costco. Tip number 2, drinking LaCroix or sparkling water of your choice is a great way to reduce the overall alcohol intake and still have a, reasonable treat, I guess, for yourself in the afternoon. And again, the psychology of just thinking all I have to do is get over a 2-hour hump to really bring down the alcohol. And then by saving all this time by meal prepping, I could go for an extra walk and work in a whole nother cycle of weight loss activities there. So a virtuous cycle, as they say. Anyway, thanks again for buying some socks, buying some tools, buying a Backbottle, subscribing to the channel, liking, then subscribing, and please leave a comment about what tips and tricks have worked for you to realize some actual weight loss that stays in check. Okay, that's all I got. Okay, bye.